Hey y'all, it is Cactus Chan here. I know it's been a while since my last video, but this update was kind of interesting. We finally got some balance changes after quite a while of not getting any, probably because Night Wraith is extremely busy working on the top 15 gifters' wishes. But we finally did get some this week, so I think it's fitting to go over those, and also just look at the other things that were in this update. So we're gonna jump over here and look at that. So right off the bat here, we see that Poseidon's custom prize, aka Poseidon, aka James, aka I am Mr. Nice Guy, that has been released. I have not seen this in game yet, but I know several people who have received replicas of this, and I've seen a video of it in action. Looks really, really cool. I did not get one, unfortunately, but it is what it is. He can give it out to whoever he wants. And if y'all weren't aware, it looks really cool. It has the same, I believe it has the same attacks as Mini Rex. I know the special is the same. I'm not sure about the regular attack. I haven't checked that out yet. But if you see someone use it in game, definitely enjoy that. If you know someone who has it, definitely check it out. It looks really good. Then we have some stuff with the secret package. There were some people who didn't really like the fact that there wasn't a whole lot of variety with the armor on the secret package. I didn't really have a strong opinion on it, although I did talk to several people who did. I'm okay with getting more items. I mean, I'm not complaining. But if you were one of the people who was really up in arms about this, really wanted some customized armors that weren't the designs that were originally in there, I think you achieved your goals pretty well. Alright, so let's jump into the balance, which will be the main portion of this video. So, much needed balance update, indeed, definitely accurate. So first change we have right off the bat is that malfunction was nerfed. So we have here the scaling was changed from 3.8 to 4.3, so that's a pretty significant nerf. I'm not sure why this was done, because as far as I know, Tech Mage wasn't horrifically overpowered, but I guess this is trying to counteract strength support Tech Mage wave that came in a couple of months ago, and I guess it was still going on to a certain extent. Also, they changed some of the base values from level 2 to level 10. If y'all were wondering, these are the old values here. So they didn't change level 1, but they nerfed the value by 2 technology points from levels 2 to 10. As you can see, so instead of 10 to 23, it's now 8 to 21. So a couple of different nerfs on malfunction there, so we'll see what comes out of that. So now we move on to Tactical Mercenary. So this change to Barbed Grenade right here, I think is the most interesting for sure. It now improves with technology instead of support, and there's no warm-up. So the improvement with technology is something that I actually suggested a couple of months ago, because I didn't think it was really viable for Tactical Mercenary, or not viable, but I didn't think it was really fair for Tactical Mercenary to have 2 unblockable nukes that both improve with support, plus the fact that it has Toxic Grenade, which also improves with support, and it improves really, really fast. So at this point, I'm not sure support Tactical Mercenary is really viable anymore, because you still have the really strong poison, but suppressing fire was nerfed as well. And if y'all were wondering, at level 40, this was kind of a weird nerf, but at level 40, this equates to a negative 40 damage net. So you're losing 40 damage at level 40, and it also gets stronger below level 20, but essentially it's 40 damage weaker now. So the Barbed Grenade change, I really like this actually, because from what I've heard, a focus Tactical Mercenary doesn't work too well with this, but I think Caster Tactical Mercenary could be a thing. I haven't tested it out myself yet, and neither is anyone else as far as I know, but in a lot of ways this could be pretty similar to caster tech mage, because you have a pretty strong tech based nuke. It does ignore damage, or sorry, it does ignore defense. It has an extra crit chance as well, which Plasma Bolt actually does not have. You have a really strong ultimate nuke skill. Annihilation is a very, very strong skill. I think it scales even faster than Supercharge, actually. So there, and also Tactical Mercenary and Tech Mage both have reroutes, so there are a lot of parallels to be drawn between Tactical Mercenary caster and TM caster. So I'd be interested to see if anyone can make a viable TM caster build, although I'm not sure it will work, considering that Tactical Mercenary doesn't have quite the same skills that Tech Mage does, but we'll see. I might try it out myself and maybe make a video on it, but it depends on how it goes. So I already mentioned the suppressing fire thing. That is weaker now. So like I said, support Tactical Mercenary, can't really see it in the picture for the meta. So now Mercenary. So the Berserker change, I like this because it nerfs it at lower levels, but it stays the same at from levels 5 to 10. So before the max was 95%, and it's still 95% at max, but it is weaker at lower levels. I think this was done to nerf the strength support mercenary build, which I think used a level 4 berserker. So it did nerf that to a certain extent. It also had kind of an interesting effect of nerfing berserker for focus builds. It was really strong for focus builds, like really, really strong. People did not really appreciate how strong it actually was. It's not something you really use on a regular basis, but it definitely was useful. I can tell you that from experience. So I don't really have a problem with this. This is fine. They're trying to nerf some of the more overpowered builds. Then Artillery Strike got the same treatment as Suppressing Fire. Again, you lost 40 damage at all levels if you're level 40. Level 20 it's the same, and below level 20 it's stronger. So here we have a little bit of an interesting change. So Persistent Strike, I don't really think needed a buff considering how strong it was, but I guess they wanted it to be unblockable too. And so we have a new skill, which is Neural Scythe. So as you can see, it says mechanically the same, but unblockable. It does increase the energy cost by 10, but I don't think that really justifies it. So here's what you're looking at here. It's just copy and paste art from Fire Scythe, which I'm sure y'all know about. So as you can see, it is the same thing, except, well, it's supposed to be unblockable, but it isn't actually unblockable according to Machion and some other sources. It still is blockable for some reason, so they're going to have to fix that. What I don't get is why they introduced an entirely new skill just for this change, because in the past we've seen skills become blockable and unblockable. Static Charge on Cyber Hunter comes to mind. So I'm not sure why they would need to replace it with an entirely new skill just for that change, but maybe it was something in the way the skill was coded, I'm not sure. But I think this could be a really powerful skill if Strength Cyber Hunter becomes really overpowered, which ironically it isn't right now, because even though it has 6 melee-based skills, Strength Cyber Hunter is not very strong. The strong build right now is Support Cyber Hunter, but I guess this adds another weapon to its arsenal. So there is that. So now we're getting into the general changes here. So we have a nerf to primary damage scaling. This I like. We need more of this. We need, what we really need is for AUG scaling to be nerfed, because it's far too strong right now for support builds, for focus builds, for any type of build. Support is just a broken stat right now. So one of the major things that needs to happen with that is AUG scaling nerf. But we need kind of scaling nerfs across the board, so this is a good starting point. So I'm gonna just take you through what actually changed. So these are the old values. So you have, so what changed was the scaling from 0 to 55 and from 85 to 100. So this is what it looked like before. You only had 3 different dividers here, and this is what it looks like now. So as you can see, we have 4 different dividers instead of 3. So this part is weaker, and this part is weaker than it was before. This 56 to 85 is the same. So if you were wondering, in the lower range, you're going to lose 11 damage from 0 to 55, and then up to 100, you lose 12 total. So you only lose 1 more. But you do lose 12 total by the time you get to 100. And on the upper range, you lose 14 up to 55 and 15 up to 100. So you're losing 11 to 14 or 12 to 15 damage for 55 and 100 stat points respectively, which doesn't seem like that big of a nerf. But when it comes to strength builds, you know, you figure they're doing, if it's a pretty short battle, they're still doing like 4 or 5 melee attacks, so they're losing, you know, 75 damage or so over the course of a battle. So that can make a pretty huge difference as far as that goes. So I think this is a good starting point. We need more of this, because as it stands, the meta right now is far too damage focused. We're just kind of seeing a lot of builds coalesce into the same type of support heavy damage build, and defense and resistance hardly even matter anymore because of how high the damage values are. I have spoken about this at length before. I'm planning on making some sort of suggestion for how to fix this in detail, so you may see more of that in the future, but I like where we're going with this. So the last thing is legendary point changes. We have not seen this in a while. So Oggs and Robot are now +3 per legendary point instead of 4. I think this is fine. It kind of makes it consistent with the other legendary points, because primary and sidearm were both +3, as were defense and resistance. So it definitely makes it more consistent. It also helps to nerf Oggs and bot damage a little bit. It's not a terrible amount. I would have liked more, but those 2 weapons are extremely powerful right now, so they do need a bit of a tuning down. So I'm okay with that. And finally, we have this change. This one is really interesting because it doesn't affect 1v1 and 2v2. So these 2, NPC Crusher and NPC Armor, are twice as strong as they were before. And I actually really like this because obviously if you're at max rank, this is gonna make Juggernaut a bit easier. It's gonna make fighting NPCs and bosses a bit easier. But I think what really stands out here is the fact that lower ranks are going to have a better time with both of those too. And I think that's a really good thing, because lower ranks really suffer in this game, especially in PvP. And so by buffing these, if you put your legendary points into these right off the bat when you start ranking up, you're going to have Juggernaut as an alternative to PvP, because the PvP meta really does not favor low ranks right now. You're going to have a way to gain XP and credits and war drops aside from 1v1, and this change is going to facilitate that. It's also going to facilitate your ability to beat legendary bosses, which is good because obviously you want those achievements. It's also going to help you farm Endless Matrix, which, as all y'all know who have watched my video on that, is the best credit farm in the game currently. So I think this is really good. It really helps lower ranks kind of get that edge, get them to rank up faster, get them those credits faster. So overall, I like this update. There weren't any glaring mistakes with it. I think I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, maybe a 7, because all those balance updates were fine. I don't think they're going to affect the meta too much. In the long run, except the tactical mercenary changes, I think that will kind of kill support tactical mercenary, and this class definitely still needs some changes. What I would do is I would move the stun from frenzy to barbed grenade, and I think that really would make caster tactical mercenary a viable option. So yeah, give this update a 7 out of 10. Some nice moves in the right direction. I think we need to see some more changes in the near future if we want to kind of combat this high HP, high damage meta that has kind of completely enveloped PvP. But I think that's about it. If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to comment if there's anything that you would suggest for the next update. Definitely comment it below. And again, I will be coming out with something related to balance changes pretty soon, so keep an eye out for that. So that's about it. I will see you all later. Peace out.